stay a while and listen.
Good afternoon, my Diablo 2 brethren, and welcome back. This is the economy-free Whirlwind Barbarian. Um, we're entering Hell today. Happy to enter in the final chapters of this particular run. It's been fun, it's been challenging, but it's also been rewarding for me personally, knowing that I could overcome some of the stuff that I had early on. You know, I was in despair for a while, and to be able to overcome that and really come out with a pretty solid character through Nightmare has been, like I said, very fulfilling. I arrive at two crossroads of varying degree, and I'm going to elaborate on those because I don't know where they're going to take me. Um, the first of which is an easier one. Um, Running terror zones in Nightmare has been great. Like I focused on Magic Find for this guy here. I'm still actually wearing the Magic Find gear now. You know, I had those topazes, I had the gloves and the rings and stuff. I'd focused on Magic Find to get me some gear. I also want to point that I was running a full Charms loadout too. It was absolutely crazy, but um, I was saving large or grand charms because I was going to start spending my gems and re-rolling them, and I kept picking them up, and I started picking up like 35 to life, 33 to life, 28 to life, 33 to life, and I'm like, I wasn't picking up charms to even re-roll. It was absolutely bonkers. I got to the point where I had to cycle out a couple of charms because I couldn't fit them. A 23 to life, another 15 to life, and it was it's very funny. So I feel like I'm very equipped to run a full loadout for Hell. But up here in the upper left, this is what I wanted to point out. So I found both an Alders and a Moonfall. Both of these are pretty great weapons to do as a dual wield, specifically with Alders because it's very fast and it throws a bunch of extra damage on there. Um, and so I'm looking at this in terms of which of these is better. I did some unofficial playtesting through the terror zones to see if I could see if the dual maces was faster or better than the bone snap. I couldn't make out any difference between them. So until I ended up replacing my armor with a rune word, which I'll be going for throughout the hell difficulty, and I lose the crushing blow on there, then I would be okay maybe losing the crushing blow on the bone snap. But right now I have good crushing blow, and I feel like that trumps the little bit of extra speed that I get from the alders. That said, the upside on wearing alders is much better if I get a couple of enhanced damage jewels. That thing's going to blow things away, I think, just with the elemental damage and the overall speed on it. And to make banners better, alders isn't that rare. I find them all the time in non-ladder, so it's not a stretch to think that I won't find another one. So that's my first dilemma, is whether I use Bone Snap or I do the Alders. I'm kind of waiting for that perfect jewel to put in there first, and then maybe that would, turn the corner there. I also have, IAS gloves here, but that doesn't work for Whirlwind from what I read. So I'd be doing this just for the fire res. When I look at character sheet, reses aren't too bad. Lightning res is where I got to focus on. I am going to maybe look at natural resistance. I'm not really sure yet, though. I feel like once I get my rune word in place, that's going to be, if I go with like smoke, for example, that's another 50 for resistances compared to what I have on rattle cage. Basically nothing. So I could get plus 50 all resistances by equipping smoke, and I might be set without having to spend any more points, which leads into my second dilemma and my lack of experience with Barbarian as a whole, particularly with Whirlwind. I'm basically done with the build already, right? So when I look at combat, we know that there was no synergies for Whirlwind. So after Whirlwind, where do I go? I was like, well, do I pour points into Berserk? Berserk already converts a shit ton of damage into magic. More than 1 point seems like absolutely wasteful, so I didn't put anything in there. Masteries. Nice thing about this here is the Alders is also a mace, but max this out here. I wasn't going to spend into extra iron skin or natural resistances unless I really, really had to. That would be saving a respec for it, which leaves me at two spots. It is either we start to pump out Shout here and just get some extra bonuses to defense. I mean, it only buffs defense, right? So this is the same as doing Iron Skin, except for I don't have to remember it, but put points in here and at least makes the battle orders longer. And then there's the other option, which a few years ago would have seemed asinine, and that is to go with the Grim Ward. And why it's no longer asinine is because it increases damage taken. Now, because the build is complete, the only way I can increase damage is with procs from weapons, like an amp damage wand or something like that, or a lower resist wand for casters, something that hits Decrepify, whatever it might be. Or I get a better weapon that I can add jewels to or up it and socket it and whatever. That's the only way I'm going to get more damage from now until the end of the game, unless I chose to go Grim Ward. So if I go Grim Ward, I get that extra basically curse effect that would give me more damage, and that would scale if I am willing to basically throw away the points into Find Potion. That's the caveat to it, and you get a big boost of damage if you level up the Grim Ward at the expense of needing to waste points into Find Potion. I don't know if they're really wasted points. The other thing that I'm not certain about with Grim Ward is, do I want monsters running away? It's annoying enough as it is when my chance for the monsters to flee and they run away. But the fact that this slows them down, maybe that actually makes that better because they stop attacking me and they maybe slowly walk away, and then maybe it makes them easy to kill. That's what I'm hoping for. This is where I'm leaning to first, is to put points into Grim Ward and get a damage buff so that I can increase my damage a little bit, cap it out just a little bit higher. You'll see I have a lot of points to work with here. I have 14 skill points, and I'm only going to get a couple 2-3 levels throughout hell, maybe 3 levels max, I think, based on what I've experienced with the last two. Probably finish out around level 83 or so. So I don't have a lot of upside here. So and I want to make sure that I do it right too. So I'll look into the point distribution before I commit to it. But it would be either essentially all of it into Shout to get maximum possible defense, or it would be breaking up into Grim Ward and Find Potion. But I got 2 respecs to work with, so if I try one, it doesn't work, then we're good. I just have to get used to using Grim Ward because I've never used it before. As far as my controller loadout, it's going to be on one of my left trigger ones, so I'll have to make sure I get acclimated to that. And truthfully, because I can't aim with the controller, I don't know where it's going to put them. It might end up being too hard to micromanage, at which point maybe I would respec out of it. But that's the biggest crossroads that I have right now going into hell. Right now I just want to get into it and start killing things, so I'm going to go off on my own. I'm going to leave these for the moment so I can research on it, and then I'm going to queue them up, and then I'm going to go kill some stuff in hell, and I'll meet you back here at Endariel in T-minus 3 seconds. In those last 3 seconds, managed to find myself a fancy new T-Gods. Upgraded the life on there, basically, so the 20 vitality should be better than the 36 life that I had, and it is. I don't know exactly how much. The rest of it's kind of just there. Help me with some lightning resistance. Give me some lightning absorb. My Achilles heel right now is indeed ranged enemies with the compromise on defense. I get hit pretty easily, especially when I'm world winning. I did ultimately go with Grim Ward, and it's kind of a double-edged sword right now. For one, playing on controller doesn't show up very well. Playing on controller, it's not working very well. I don't know if it needs to be very precise, but a lot of things like laying traps or doing summons and stuff with Manicro, just boom, 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 works really easy. This here is not hitting well on corpses at all. Like it's it's not casting, so I don't have an instant cast where I can rely on it heavily. I find myself not even using it. And then also because of the rangers, it's not really doing anything for ranged enemies. And when I get swarmed, I have to be able to kill one fast enough and then be able to use the ward. Um, I'm not giving up on it just yet. I think it's going to still have some uses, but it's been mostly unsuccessful for me. Not saying that maxing out my defensive capabilities would be better, but if I find myself just playing through and killing stuff and not worrying so much about the Grim Ward, I at least am warranted in respecing out. It's hard for me to do because I haven't had a lot of practice with it, but I'll try and whip one out here just to illustrate. So like right now, there I finally got one out there. When it hits though, it's pretty awesome. Like I'm at like plus 60% damage or something. I mean, just bam, bam, bam. If I don't think Andario is gonna be affected by it, but um, like I said, when it does hit, it's awesome. But it's a bit on the unreliable side for me right now. See if I can't lure her out. Oh, we got a unique here first. Yeah. I don't think she's taken any extra damage, but with Crushing Blow, I feel like that's the solution here. So, not too much to worry about here. Couple of gems. Unfortunately, nothing else, but T-Gods is as good as it's going to get for now, but watch out for this fire before it burns me. Anyways, move on to Doriel and see if things get better in Act 2 as far as this whole Grimoire thing goes. We'll find out. Before we jump into Doriel, a quick little gear check here. I ended up swapping out for. I got rid of my Magic Find helmet. I kept it in my box just in case. Finally popped in a lore helmet, one that had some barbarian stuff on it, so worked out well there. I found a Lem rune, so I built myself a Treachery. Treachery is not really my end game armor at this point. I am going to use Lionheart, but I didn't have a Fall rune at the time, and I found this one and I had the armor for it. And shortly after I made this, like within 15 minutes, I found the Fall rune, and now I don't have a socketed armor for it. So I have the runes to make a Lionheart. I'm gonna give this to my Merc ultimately, and then I'll have my end game gear there. My mercenaries got a Crown of Thieves on him now, which is great. And then he's wearing a Atma's Whale. So while the defense will go down, the Treacher will be nice for him to have. I am going to experiment too with the weapon. He's currently using Insight. I don't know where I'm at in terms of needing Insight with Whirlwind. I've had times where it didn't seem like Insight was working anyways, and I felt like I had okay mana. Um, if I complete my testing and that goes good, I'm actually going to switch this out and put on the I don't remember what the rune word was. The cheaper 3 socket one that has fanaticism, level 1 fanaticism. I think it's called Mania now because of the Warlock release. I was going to originally put that in an armor, but the armor doesn't have the aura, so it's got to be on the weapon. That's why I'm toying around with this. If I need the mana, then I can't really sacrifice that. But I found myself a partisan for it, a 3-socket partisan, so I know I'm gonna get decent damage out of it plus fanaticism. That'd be the last little bit of upped damage that I can actually get to. Using the Grim Ward, I'm doing all right with it. It's hard to use. I think part of the reason that it was hard for me to use is I was not familiar with the corpses. Can't use it on skeletons, can't use it on like ghosts and stuff, and I think that was part of the reason why I was having problems with it. I was trying to cast this thing just by getting swarmed with mobs, realizing that the mobs were basically undead mobs and skinless, if you will. I've gotten better at it. It does work pretty slick. It does amp up the damage. It breaks physical immune, which is awesome. Thing is, there's not a lot of physical immunes that are not ghosts, so I need other junk around plus the ghost to break the immunity. Hasn't really fared well. Um, Money wise, not doing well there. While I was farming for runes, I ended up just turning things down a little bit so that actually no, I was already turned all the way down. Well, anyways, I was farming for money, and it wasn't going well. And I think what I did is I stopped speed running through Countess runs, and I just started killing all the guys on my way to the Countess because I was coming out so net negative. Like I would do 5 Countess runs and the Merc would die, and then I'd lose 50 grand right there. So I just started killing everything, taking it slow, just casual play. Started selling all those armors, got some of my money back. I still only have about maybe 300,000 or 400,000 now, so it's still rough. I'd like to get that up into the million if I can. We'll do that in Act 3 though as I go through here. Um, yeah, that's about it. So buff up here and get her done. Not really sure if Whirlwind or Berserk is better here. Whirlwind could hit more than once, and with the crushing blow, that'd be nice. Easier to control. Berserk. Overall, I think I'm just waiting on crushing blow, to be honest. Merc is holding aggro, which is really, really nice. I don't think it matters, but my treachery proc too. Oh, I know what I can do. I can use my one shout here. Whirlwind might hit more often, but he overshoots so much that the time to kill is actually being impacted. Looks like I got his bitch ass though. Melee fighter against Duriel and not really taking much damage. I'll take it. Act 2 has been really tough for me. Like I said, Merc died a lot. Put that another essence for my trouble. Had essence on my assassin run too. And I got another Saigon belt. I already had that one in my box. And I got myself a emerald. Yay. Guess I'll pick this and I'll pick this and leave the rest. So off to the Act 3 grind. Probably save that treachery just for the council because I'll need all the res I can get there. But anyways, moving on. Time has come for Travincal. No gear upgrades at this point. Already, I had my treachery procced, but it just ran out. My resistances are not quite there. I expect that it will proc while I'm in there. There'll probably take a lot of hits, and then it'll beef back up. Anyways, that's that. So this is the true test. If I beat it without a proc, then we're sitting actually pretty good. But we are going to play it safe and try and get a couple to come out at once because I can't take the entire council at once. Actually take pretty good melee damage, so that's good. With the life tap, definitely helps my merc, who is prone to getting whacked pretty good. Should probably do my buffs there. Alright, fall back. The old stout heart of Emilio, right? That's why I love teleport, because I can just get out of that stuff. ISO is easy peasy. Back off a little bit. There is a Zakuramite or somebody that is healing these guys. See if I can find out who was doing that. As far as Hell Trav goes, this is honestly one of the better ones I've had. That must be the guy that ran off. I think that is it. Oh, there's one. There. No, that's it. Yeah, that actually went very well. Gives me hope for doing Mephisto without getting killed. Guess we'll have a look. Endurance 2 was quite the labyrinth, and Endurance 3 was actually pretty standard. Didn't get overrun in any one particular spot. Work a little bit of Crushing Blow against Mephisto, and I think that'll be all we need. I've been using Berserk a lot lately. It's easy to hit, and it keeps me in place. So anything single target is usually just Berserk. Works well enough. Does good damage. Plus you hit a Crushing Blow here or there. Aside from a little bit of poison, this is actually not a big deal. He's hitting me instead of my merc, which is good. I can soak it. Throw on a little life tap and we both just top off our life. Easy peasy. If I can get those last couple of hits in. Yeah, suffice to say, unless I just run through everything, D2 is not really great for shit. Monologuing. I do not understand how that happens. Literally, every time I take a moment out to say something, I lose track of my merc. What I was saying is, unless I just want to run through everything, Endurance 2 isn't really conducive of speed farming just to get to Mephisto. I think I got mostly decent enough end game gear where I'm going to be able to make it through the rest of the game on what I got. But hate that I just let him die there. Oh well. That wraps up this video. Only one left to go. X4 and 5, and then we will have beaten Diablo 2 economy free with a whirlwind barb, which would be a first for me. Then we can move on to something else. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time. And Tara Dune, and hail to you, champion. Bye bye.